Many education reforms have taken place in the nation. We've had the education governors, we've had education presidents, we've done all of these things, and everybody's had a new solution. But in fact, the problem isn't getting better. The problem is getting worse.
We create a city the size of Chicago every 2.5 years, filled with kids who never finished high school, no-hopers, and pregnant teenagers, kids who are on drugs, push-outs as well as dropouts. City the size of Chicago every 2.5 years.
This is not the formula for a successful, ambitious, globally competitive adult population.
I think it's the nation's greatest challenge. I think if we don't address this, what is it we're going to address?
Why don't we just stop everything when kids aren't learning to read? I mean, why are we even doing anything else?
Why isn't it that kids, when they come to school, and they do need to learn math, so I don't want to discount math, but why isn't the greater percentage of their day spent learning how to read?
Why aren't we pulling out all the stops and saying, wait a minute, you know what, if you don't learn to read, there are so many disastrous consequences. I mean, it would not be a good idea for kids never to get their early grounding in science or social studies. But I don't know that the life consequences would be anywhere nearly as dramatic as they are for kids that don't learn to read.
You don't find people running around with a sense of urgency. We're killing our children. Do you know how many dropped out today? Why don't we do something? There's no, it's all, people are going to meetings.
It feels very frustrating that we're not seeing the kind of change we want to see in improvements in reading achievement. And it's hard to understand why that's happening.
People really need to have a wake-up call here, which is that reading is essential. And in fact, it's one of the inability of people to read, our young people to read, is one of the greatest risks that we all face today.
The problem is our society's lack of insight into what is involved in acquiring literacy.
So when we think we're going to fix the reading problem in the country by teaching beginning reading in a particular way, we're fooling ourselves.
Adults who enjoy reading, most of us do. Reading is a pleasurable experience. It's something that brings us comfort. It's very difficult for us to relate to a child who struggles so much with that process.
People in decision-making roles have to essentially have a lot of imagination to see the world from the eyes of somebody who has a lower level of literacy, because literacy is something we have taken for granted. We've pretty much always had it as long as we could remember.
It's like any skill. Once you've acquired it, it seems easy. It seems natural. I think parents, children, teachers don't appreciate how extraordinarily difficult this is.
If I had my druthers, instructional methods wouldn't be the big deal out there. What would be the big deal is if teachers could ask themselves, what does it take to learn to read?
We need to reconceptualize what it means to learn to read, and who's responsible for its success if we're going to deal with the problem.
It is so critical that we invoke the public imagination and will to get this done.